everyone has this desire for the authentic, and authenticity is therefore becoming the new consumer sensibility, the buying criteria by which consumers are choosing who they're going to buy from and what they are going to buy, becoming the basis of the economy. In fact, you can look at how each of these economies develop, that each one has their own business imperative matched with the consumer sensibility. With the agrarian economy, when we're supplying commodities, it's about supplying availability, getting the commodities to market. With the industrial economy, it is about controlling costs, getting the costs down as low as possible so we can offer them to the masses. With the service economy, it is about improving quality. The whole quality movement has risen with the service economy over the past 20 or 30 years. And now, with the experience economy, it's about rendering authenticity. Rendering authenticity. And that's the key word, is rendering. Right? Rendering, because you have to get your consumers, as business people, to perceive your offerings as authentic. Because there is a basic paradox. No one can have an inauthentic experience, but no business can supply one. Because all businesses are man-made objects. All business is involved with money. All business is a matter of using machinery. And all those things make something inauthentic. So how do you render authenticity is the question. Right? Rendering authenticity. When you think about that, let me go back to what Lionel Trilling, in his seminal book on authenticity, Sincerity and Authenticity, came out in 1960, points to as the seminal point at which authenticity entered the lexicon, if you will. And that is, to no surprise, in Shakespeare and in his play Hamlet. And there's one point in his play Hamlet where the most fake of all the characters in Hamlet, Polonius, says something profoundly real. At the end of a laundry list of advice he's giving to his son Laertes, he says this, "And this above all, to thine own self be true. And it doth follow as night the day, that thou canst not then be false to any man." And those three verses are the core of authenticity. There are two dimensions to authenticity. One, being true to yourself, which is very self-directed. Two is other-directed, being what you say you are to others. And I don't know about you, but whenever I encounter two dimensions, I immediately go, 2 by 2. Right? Anybody else like that? No? Well, if you think about that, you do in fact get a 2 by 2. Where on one dimension, it's a matter of being true to yourself. As businesses, are the economic offerings you are providing, are they true to themselves? And the other dimension is, are they what they say they are to others? If not, you have is not true to itself and is not what it says it is. Right? Yielding a 2 by 2 matrix. And of course, if you are both true to yourself and are what you say you are, then you're real. The opposite, of course, is fake. Right now, there is value for fake. There will always be companies around to supply the fake because there will always be desire for the fake. In fact, there's a general rule. If you don't like it, it's fake. If you do like it, it's faux. Now, the other two sides of the coin are being a real fake, is what it says it is but is not true to itself, or being a fake real, is true to itself but not what it says it is. You can think about those two contrasts, and both of these are better than being fake, not quite as good as being real. You can contrast them by thinking about Universal City Walk versus Disney World, right, or Disneyland. Universal City Walk is a real fake. In fact, we got this very term from Ada Louise Huxtable's book, The Unreal America. Wonderful book where she talks about Universal City Walk as, she decries the fake, but she says, at least that's a real fake, right? Because you can see behind the facade, right? It is what it said it is. It's Universal Studio. It's in the city of Los Angeles. You're going to walk a lot, right? You don't tend to walk a lot in Los Angeles. Well, here's a place where you are going to walk a lot outside in this city, right? But is it really true to itself? Right? Is it really in the city? Is it, you can see behind all of it and see what is going on in the facades of it, so she calls it a real fake. Disney World, on the other hand, is a fake real, or a fake reality. Right? It's not what it says it is. It's not really the Magic Kingdom. But it is, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to. Sorry. We won't talk about Santa Claus then. But Disney World is wonderfully true to itself, right? Just wonderfully true to itself. When you are there, you are just immersed in this wonderful environment. So it's a fake real. Now, the easiest way to fall down in this and not be real, right? The easiest way not to be true to yourself is not to understand your heritage and thereby repudiate that heritage. Right? The key of being true to yourself is knowing who you are as a business, knowing where your heritage is, what you have done in the past, and what you have done in the past limits what you can do, what you can get away with, essentially, in the future. So you have to understand that past. Think about Disney again. Disney, 10 or 15 years ago, right? The company that is probably best known for family values out there, Disney bought the ABC network. ABC network, affectionately known in the trade as the TNA network. Right? That's not too much jargon, is it? Right? The TNA network. Then it bought Miramax, known for its NC-17 fare. And all of a sudden, families everywhere couldn't really trust what they were getting from Disney. It was no longer true to its heritage, no longer true to Walt Disney. It's one of the reasons why they're having such trouble today, and why Roy Disney is out to get Michael Eisner, because it is no longer true to itself. So understand what your past limits what you can do in the future. When it comes to being what you say you are, the easiest mistake that companies make is that they advertise things that they are not. Right? That's when you're perceived as fake, as a phony company, advertising things that you're not. Think about any hotel, any airline, any hospital. Right? If you could check into the ads, you'd have a great experience. But unfortunately, you have to experience the actual hotel, airline, and hospital, and then you have that disconnect. Then you have that perception that you are phony. So the number one thing to do when it comes to being what you say you are is to provide places for people to experience who you are. For people to experience who you are. Right? It's not advertising does it. That's why you have companies like Starbucks, right, that doesn't advertise at all. I said, you want to know who we are, you have to come experience us. And think about the economic value they have provided by that experience. Right? Coffee at its core is what? Right? It's beans. Right? It's coffee beans. You know how much coffee is worth when treated as a commodity, as a bean? 2 or 3 cents per cup. That's what coffee is worth. But grind it, roast it, package it, put it on a grocery store shelf, and now it'll cost 5, 10, 15 cents when you treat it as a good. Take that same good and perform the service of actually brewing it for a customer in a corner diner, in a bodega, a kiosk somewhere. You get 50 cents, maybe $1 per cup of coffee. But surround the brewing of that coffee with the ambiance of a Starbucks, with the authentic theater that goes inside of there. And now, because of that authentic experience, you can charge $2, $3, $4, $5 for a cup of coffee. So authenticity is becoming the new consumer sensibility. Let me summarize it for the business people in the audience with 3 rules, 3 basic rules. 1, don't say you're authentic unless you really are authentic. 2, it's easier to be authentic if you don't say you're authentic. And 3, if you say you're authentic, you better be authentic. And then for the consumers, for everyone else in the audience, let me simply summarize it by saying, increasingly, what will make us happy is spending our time and our money satisfying the desire for authenticity. Thank you.